Hey everyone, so thank you guys for joining this webinar. We feel like we have some good information for you all. Rika, who is just joined us right there, she'll be helping us go through this presentation. People are still coming in. We had about 110 people sign up for the webinar. We want you guys in the chat to network with each other. We want you guys to ask questions. If we say something that you might not know in the moment, please ask us that question and we'll address it on the spot because we really want this to be as educational as possible. So without further ado, let me share my screen and that will start our webinar. Here we go.
Hey, nice pin, Keith.
Oh yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, so everyone should be able to see my screen at this point. As everybody knows, Rika and I, we're going to be talking about 5 winning social media strategies that we've seen that are happening in 2019. So moving into 2020, we like to stay a year ahead. We're able to provide you with some values that we see to really help take it to the next level.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Rika, and sorry for the domestic background. I'm working from my home office this morning here in the Bay Area. I run marketing for eClincher, and you will hear more about eClincher as we move through today's webinar. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Raul Manresa, who is based in Spain. And Raul is one of our leads on the customer success and support team. And he'll be joining me as we move through talking about some of these 5 strategies and exemplifying it through some of the ways that we help customers and clients like yourselves work in addressing some of the unique marketing and go-to-market opportunities that social media provides. Keith?
Yep, so my name's Keith. I'm the CEO of Sociallyin. What we do at Sociallyin is we help typically small and medium-sized brands with different aspects of social. So we do strategy, we do content production, we have an in-house studio, we help with community management, we help with managing paid advertising budgets across all of the major social networks, we help with your day-to-day community management, and then lastly, we help with influencer marketing programs. We've won numerous awards since the past 7 years we've been in business, the most notable being the past 3 years in a row, we've won a top 10 social media agency by Clutch.co. We won a top 200 agency by Agency Spotter and many other awards. We work with clients like Dick's Sporting Goods, TGI Fridays, Toyotas, and many, many other small and local medium-sized businesses also. So that's the quick version and story about Sociallyin.
Great. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is to talk about what's going on there in the landscape. And we have a pretty big group here today, so I'm sure it's pretty diverse in terms of experience and sort of the past strategies that you all have taken as you look at the landscape of going to market in the digital era that we're in. And what we'll do today to talk about these 5 areas is to focus on content, innovative technology, listening, so knowing your customer, creativity, which is super key, and then of course competitive intelligence. The beautiful thing about digital is that it's providing a democratic way for a lot of businesses to get online. And so really being smart about all these 5 areas is really going to be key to get you set up for 2020, which I can't believe we're actually coming upon 2020. It was like so
Right.
sci-fi so long ago.
Right. But and look, as marketers, we have to be thinking ahead. So
yes, definitely. Okay, so let's set the scene. Go to the next slide. All right, so the past year, the world's population grew by just a little over 1%, about 84 million. But the people that have been active on social media has grown actually 9%, just to give you an idea as to how much faster social media growth and activity and engagement has exceeded just even the population growth. And as the Gen Zs come into the workforce and millennials continue to expand in the workforce, obviously, you know, that's going to continue accelerating, and we're going to be seeing a lot of great new innovations for sure that are going to be happening in the space. But let's just focus on today and then looking in the horizon for the next couple of years as we move very quickly. We know that today at eClincher, we work with businesses across all different segments, and we work with small to medium-sized businesses, and we work with large enterprise customers as well. We work with state governments. So we have a really good sampling size across a lot of different industries. And on average, a business is going to spend anywhere between 6 to 25 hours per week on various social media channels. And that's happening at the business side. And at the same time, the social media channels, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the LinkedIn's, they're updating their platform on average twice a week. And so that's a lot of velocity that you have to try to keep up with, because if you're really wanting to meet your different audiences in different ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the webinar, to think that you have to keep up with anywhere between 4 to 8 different social media channels, depending on your audience and the extent to which they're using social media, that's a lot. And sometimes the updates are simple, but other times they may be a little bit more involved. And so keeping track of all that can be really, really challenging. And even with just managing the content, you know, a lot of businesses that we work with don't want to have the savviness of really not just managing all the content and the way that you go to market using those social media channels, but also how you use the analytics and how you're able to create a dashboard and all these other things around managing the direct communications that you now have the opportunity to do with users. These are things that kind of take away from the core of businesses. And so that's one of the key areas that we try to focus on at eClincher. And finally, for the small to medium-sized businesses, which there's been a tremendous surge just in the past few years of local businesses or businesses that are franchises or even professional businesses. So be that lawyer or dentist or doctor or some of these other SMBs, they just simply don't have the budget to necessarily hire an agency that's going to manage all those channels for them. Of course, there are great agencies like Sociallyin that are really focusing on content, which is always going to be super key. And so what we're doing at eClincher is really hitting all the different checkboxes here around how do you as a business keep up with the velocity, keep up with the rate of updates and change, keep up with a lot but also about your competition. And then, of course, to make it a very economical and one-stop shop for you to be able to manage all that in one place. So any comments, Keith?
No, I think that's right. Right. When social media and social media marketing first came into the space, we didn't have as many tools as we do today, such as eClincher, to help make some of those hurdles that you just talked about. Today, using software can be very beneficial. And here in a minute, Raul will come on and show you guys a few things that eClincher can specifically do. But just keep in mind, when social media marketing first became a thing, there were very few and very limited softwares out there to really help do the job. And today we have many, eClincher being one of them. So.
Yep. Okay, so we are at your service. We are a complete, comprehensive platform that helps you publish, converse with your users, automate, and analyze all your social media interactions across all the popular and common social media channels. And again, Raul will show that to you and see how that exactly works. And essentially, we believe that social media is the modern CRM system. It's absolutely the way that customer relationship management is actually being used and become a much more powerful way for you to be able to advance your business. Next slide.
Definitely. Okay, so again, just to give you guys, some people have joined after I gave the quick introduction of Sociallyin. So really quickly, Sociallyin helps brands with social strategy, content production. We have a full-blown production studio in-house. We help with community management. We help with paid advertising management, so helping make sure that the money that we're spending across social media is actually an ROI attached to that. And influencer marketing is another area that we help with. We help with finding the influencer, vetting the influencer's audience to make sure that they didn't buy any fake followers. We negotiate with the influencer. We handle any legal that's involved. And then ultimately we track the placements. We like to really consider ourselves as social media problem solvers. So if you have a problem with social media, bring us that problem. We'll be creating a custom solution around that for you. So I wanted to touch a little bit about what we do as an agency for our brand whenever we're putting together a social media strategy. I feel like this can be helpful for a lot of you because questions that I get a lot are, what actually goes into a social media strategy? How long does a social media strategy take to develop? Like, do we actually need a social media strategy? Some of the things that we discuss here at Sociallyin whenever we are talking about a social media plan is we talk about the brand audit first. So the social team that's ultimately going to be managing the profiles need to have a total understanding of the brand. Number two is a competitive audit. So not only do we want to take inspiration from our competitor, but we want to set ourselves apart from our competitor. And once you take a look at what eClincher will be able to do, you'll be able to see what competitive analysis and monitoring we can do from that side. The next very important topic of conversation that we have during a social media strategy is our buyer personas. They're exercises that you can use out there to build your buyer personas out. And the reason buyer personas are important are really for two things. Number one is when you're in a brainstorming session, who are you actually trying to create content for? You need to be able to keep that in mind. The team that's in the brainstorm session needs to be able to keep that in mind. So buyer personas. The next thing is goals. During the strategy period, you want to be able to set goals, especially if you're a social media team that has to report upwards. If you're able to set goals and expectations with leadership, with the agency you might be working with, or just internally for yourself, it's going to make everything really black and white, whether or not social media is having an impact on the business. The next thing would be a platform research. So we hear this a lot at our agency is, why don't we just be on every platform? Why aren't we on Twitter? Why aren't we on LinkedIn? We should be utilizing them all. Well, sure, but we need to take a look at resources. We need to take a look at really like how much time does the team have to put towards these? And we want to pick the ones that are the most low-hanging fruit, so to say. So picking a platform in your strategy is very important. And then last two here, which is a content strategy and an engagement strategy. So the way we think about content at our team is we think of them in content pillars. So whenever we're going into brainstorm sessions or whenever we're ideating new content pieces, these content pillars really allow us to come up with content that we want to publish. So for example, a content pillar could be customer testimonials. Then another content pillar can be culture stuff. So maybe what's happening on site, what's happening at your company. Another content pillar can be educational content. So many different content pillars, but you want to be able to define this during the strategy so that when you start to execute it, it makes your life easy. And then lastly, engagement strategy. That's pretty straightforward. As you all know, there's two types of engagement. One that happens inbound, so people coming to our profiles, and what we're doing outbound. So what are we doing jumping into conversations? Outlining this and putting this on paper, what happens if we have a negative feedback? How are we responding to that? Are we responding to that publicly? Are we responding to them and saying, hey, DM us? If you have that on paper and that's a part of your strategy, it can go a very long way and help the team that's ultimately doing the community management understand how they need to react to certain inbound or outbound messages. So I want to show you guys just a very quick case study video we did. This is one of the largest hip hop festivals in the South. It's called A3C. We were responsible for the entire, there's music on here, but I just muted it. We were responsible for the entire plan, the entire execution, on-site execution, and many other things. You'll see some numbers of impact here in this video. Short video, 2 minutes.
Hip-hop's family reunion. It is a breeding ground for the next generation of stars while honoring the legends and trailblazers of hip-hop. The three-part event has featured over 5,000 artists, including Nas, De La Soul, and J. Cole. Over the course of a week, A3C hosts dozens of panels, workshops, mixers, mentor sessions, and interviews with hundreds of tastemakers, thought leaders, and industry experts. A3C came to us looking to increase their social content output for 2017. They were bringing in bigger names, sponsors, and on-site activations, so hip-hop fans needed to know. Knowing that the timing for each piece was crucial, we created a content strategy for before, during, and after the festival and conference. We concentrated our efforts, learning the voice and understanding the audience of A3C to stretch the limits of what it means to be on brand. We made everything from on-the-spot speaker graphics and GIFs to artist lineup videos that were posted across A3C's social platforms and website. We had a personality take over Snapchat for the full week, covering different activations and interviewing attendees and artists, and it was a hit. Not only did A3C reach its ticket sale goal, it exceeded them through increased social media awareness and engagement on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
So quick video of an example of a festival that had very much success. We completely sold out, where we had a very solid social media strategy at the very beginning of the planning for the 2017 A3C. Another case study, but we'll save that one. I just also wanted to give you guys an idea of where having a content strategy can really help drive ideas. So one part of Dick's Sporting Good, which is one of our clients' content strategy, was that we wanted to be able to use user-generated content throughout the year. So one of the ideas our teams came up with was, why don't, during the Winter Olympics, why don't we create regular people into Winter Olympians? So what we did is we asked people to upload a picture of themselves, and we created over 100 graphics like these over here on the right that we would be able to overlay on pictures that people sent into us. So for example, we had people send us pictures where we turned them into Olympians, everybody from a young demographic to old demographic. We even had entire teams submit pictures that we were able to turn around and turn into Winter Olympians. So this is a good example of, because we knew in the beginning that we wanted to somehow utilize user-generated content, it allowed our creative teams, it allowed the brainstorming teams to know, hey, what can we do to really drive more user-generated content? So this is just one example of how having a strategy can really dictate and drive the brainstorming sessions.
Cool. All right. So now that you know how to think about content and being very strategic and also creative, which is one of the themes that we'll talk about later, the next piece is really thinking about what are the technological or innovative tools that you can use. I've been living in Silicon Valley for over a decade, so I'm at the heart of disruption. I think I can look out my window and see some technology tool that's disrupting something somewhere. And so that's what we're doing at eClincher, is to really harness the best that there is out there in terms of technology. We have an agile way of continuing to improve and update our platform on a regular basis based on all the feedback that we get from you, our customers, our clients, our prospects, around what's going to be the most effective when it comes to an all-in-one social media management platform. And so what I'm going to do in a moment is to give the gears over to my colleague Raul, and he's going to walk you through at a very high level, quick walkthrough of the way that technology today helps you manage your social media around publishing and scheduling, managing your social inbox, auto-posting, queuing up your posts in an automatic way, looking for influencers and leveraging influencers, which we know is a big thing. Being able to leverage and exploit media libraries that are out there, as well as your own media. We also have a solution for teams and agencies. So if you're working with an agency and you think that they would be able to use eClincher for your services, we also have a program around that. Auto post with RSS. RSS feeds are a really great way to harness content that's coming from relevant sources that are talking to your theme and your business. Monitoring and listening, as we were talking about earlier, listening is going to be one of the themes that we'll talk about and double click on a little bit later. Suggested content. I was in a meeting the other day and somebody said, does your platform give me some ideas, because I'm just brain dead by 4 o'clock when I need to think about what to do next. So I'll hand it to kind of give you a real taste of how this technology actually has come together now to make that happen. Raul?
So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Raul, you can go in and share your screen.
Sure then. 1 second, please.
Hola, Raul.
Hello there, hola. Okay, guys, so you should be able to see my screen by now. I don't know if you do.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So very quickly, a quick overview of everything that eClincher offers for your social media management. So first of all, this would be your main menu. This is the Add and Manage Account pop-up window. And here's where you can connect your different social media profiles. As you can see, we integrate with all major social media profiles. And we as well offer you the possibility to integrate any account you have on the following services. So for example, if you use Google Drive to host your files and attach to your content, you can easily connect that account to eClincher, so you have everything under a single place, and it will be easier for you to manage your social media strategy and a task on daily basis with this tool. So once you connect your account, as you can see, you can connect as many profiles as you want, or you need to connect from different social channels, from different groups of managers. You will have this main dashboard. Just 1 second, not sure how to get rid of this. Okay, just it. Sorry about that. So as you can see, you will have an organized dashboard. On the left panel, you will have all your accounts available, and you can always check on the live feeds on whatever is going live on those channels. You can totally check whatever is published on those accounts and check as if you were logged in on those social media channels, but you can as well very quickly check on any analytics data that profiles are showing you at the moment if you need to do a quick overview. Now, we separate the tool on these main tabs, so you have different tools for publishing, for managing your engagement on the inbox. You have different feeds that are good for monitoring and social listening and content curation. We offer you different possibilities to analyze and understand how you're doing on social with our analytics reports, and as well we have influencers feature. So going very quickly on all of those tabs, first you will have publishing, and on publishing it's a pretty easy to use composer. You have a drop down menu where you can select your different accounts, and then you can start adding or typing your content. You have different integrations, as I mentioned before. So you have a lot of tools that will help you schedule your content without having to go anywhere else. You don't have to open a new tab, for example, to attach an image from a free image stock library. We offer you 2 free stock images libraries internally. We offer you Canva, which is a very great tool for editing, like a very quick and easy to use Photoshop. You have a full keyboard of emojis and so on. So you have multiple features that will be helpful and that will basically cover all your needs. You don't have to go and have different subscriptions or open different tabs to go and have your content ready to schedule. Once you schedule your content, you will always have it available on the calendar section, and our calendar is very flexible and will show you basically anything you needed to show you. You have monthly displays, but also you can check by week. You can easily change timeframes by clicking on the arrows. You can go upwards or backwards to check whatever you have published, but also what you have scheduled for the future. You can filter by profile, so you can totally check whatever is scheduled for one profile or a group of profiles. You can as well check by post type. You can visualize many themes. We also offer you a visual calendar, which is great for your planning and strategy. And again, you have different possibilities of filtering and checking on particular profiles. So this is very great, a very great tool for planning terms. Moving on, we also offered you publishing tool, Autopost with queues. This is a great way to automate your content. You can basically bulk upload a lot of content that you usually share, evergreen content, promotional content that's previously approved, and you can set it to, you can schedule it, and it will publish automatically to different social media profiles with just a couple of clicks. The tool is very easy to use. We have full guide me tutorials on different pages, so you will never feel lost when checking on anything. And you will be able to manage your content very easily and on the way you want it to be published, on the time periods that you want it to schedule. You will be able to do as you need it to be. For RSS publishing, we also mentioned that you can automatically schedule any website or blog to automatically publish to your social media. So, for example, we no longer schedule anything that goes into our blog, but instead what we do, we set here our RSS feed and selected our different social media profiles. So once a new post goes live, it will automatically publish to our social media, which saves us a lot of time in terms of scheduling and managing our communities. Moving on, for inbox and engagement, we offered you an integrated solution where you can manage all interactions that arrive to your different profiles under a single place. You don't have to check one profile one by one to check if you have anything pending, but instead you have an organized solution where you can check on everything you need, and you can take quick actions to resolve the items and complete them, or you can click on any of those to check on the details and see what's the context of a message that you have received. You have, again, different possibilities to reply and engage with your communities. You have the option to add saved replies to manage quicker the items that are arriving to your inbox. You have the option as well to create and save hashtag lists. So the tool basically offers you different possibilities to manage your communities as fast and as easy as you need it to be. You have filtering capabilities, so you can check on a couple of profiles, for example, first, or you can check on a particular item. Let's say you want to check always first your Facebook Messenger messages, you can totally do that. And you have different tagging options and assignment options for your teams. Moving on to feeds, one of the key features we offer is, as Rika said, monitoring keywords and hashtags, and we offer these capabilities for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And what you can do is basically either monitor whatever people are saying, for example, about your brand or your client's brand on social, but you can also monitor whatever or whoever is mentioning your competitors. You can set your different feeds and keep an eye on different topics or users based on the search terms that you want to set. For suggested content, and as Rika also mentioned, if you are short of ideas or you just need a tool to suggest you different articles and you're constantly looking for new content to generate to your social channels, you can totally use and create different suggested content feeds. You can do a very quick keyword search and it will show you different articles posted online that are rated based on a topic score that goes from 0 to 100. The closest it is to 100, the best rated it is, and you can totally click to check on the article on the original source, so you can read the whole thing or just take the piece of content that you need for your post. Another thing you can do from here, if you directly like to repost or schedule these articles to your social, you can directly do that as well. Another tool we offered you for monitoring and also content curation would be RSS 8 feeds, but on their feeds tab. So what you can do here is, again, add any RSS or URL from Medium, YouTube, or basically any website or URL. And you can track whatever they are publishing on their blog section. So you can check on new articles and be up to date with different sites. You can also monitor what your competitors, for example, are publishing as new content. So to keep track on what's the trend that they are looking at. On analytics, we offer you the possibility to select different or saved preset favorite analytics dashboards, so you can pin them and have a quick overview of how you're doing and how are your analytics for all your connected profiles on a very quick and easy to use overview, so you can quickly check without having to generate a report on any charts that you have added on this section. You can as well download different reports. So for example, if you want to check how you're doing, how your posts are doing on Instagram, you will go to analytics reports, you will select the type of report, and the system will generate the report based on the time frame settings that you have set on top, and you can always export this as PDF. So you can keep track on how you're doing on social. For example, you can check what is the best time to post on a particular social media channel. Finally, you have an influencer tab where you can look for different influencers on different topics and areas. You can narrow results by using location. So you can engage with them, you can add them to your Twitter list, you can follow them, and you can read recent articles posted by them as well. So that will be the main overview of eClincher. Back to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Raul. That was very helpful, very helpful. So let me now turn around, share my screen so we can get back to the presentation. Okay, so the next topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about is just the general listening and how at our agency, how do we utilize listening? What does it mean for our clients? Is it even helpful? There's sometimes a lot of people don't necessarily know, especially small businesses that we come across, is how can we actually listen? Does listening have anything to do with my business? So I just wanted to touch on a few topics of like where listening can actually help you guys. So number one, it's going to help you leverage your feedback and analytics. So if you're not listening to the customer, if you don't have proper systems set up in place to really figure out what people are saying, even when they may not be tagging you, it's very important to understand what feedback you're getting. That way you can adjust whether it's your product, whether it's the way your customer service is being done, or whatever the case may be. Listening allows you to improve your business overall. Number two, it can help you start to understand who your audience is. You may have an idea already, like who are our buyer personas, who are the people that we really want to reach, but once you actually start to listen to them, keep in mind, we're marketing to each individual person. These are human beings. So, setting up proper tools that allow listening, like eClincher and a couple of other ones, will allow you to really start to understand your audience. And this is really where, as an agency, we tell our customers is, yeah, sure, we may have 3, 4, 5, maybe even more than 5 buyer personas, but keep in mind, these are still individual people that we're ultimately trying to reach. Another thing you can do, as Raul showed just a second ago, is be able to set up RSS feeds. So say, for example, you want to keep up to date with what might be happening in your industry. Well, your industry may have 7, 8, 9, maybe even more than 10 publications, and it can make the community coordinator or the social media manager's job difficult to go to all 10 of those different websites daily, go to each of those 10 publications daily to keep up with what's actually happening. But with a listening tool, you're able to set up the RSS feed. It will very simply aggregate into one place, and then from there, you're able to pick and choose which pieces that you may want to curate and then ultimately use on your own social channels. Another thing that you can do through listening is set up hashtag and keyword search. So say, for example, we're working with a company in Chicago that is doing a launch of one of the biggest mozzarella cheese stores in the Magnificent Mile. So what we're going to be helping them do through listening is we're going to be monitoring anybody traveling to Chicago. So anybody that says, hey, I'm excited for my trip to Chicago, or anybody that says anything about something unique that Chicago has, we're able to see that onto our feed, and then our community coordinators are able to jump into that conversation and say, hey, we see you're coming into Chicago on April 18th. We'd love to have you in our store. Here's 20% because this is your first visit to Chicago. We hope you enjoy it. So that's another way listening can really help benefit the outbound side of your community engagement and ultimately grow the exposure. So I'll let Raul take over one more time. This one will be a little bit quicker than the last demo just because we'll be focusing around the listening tool specifically, but I'd love for him to show you guys what's possible from a listening tool. So let me stop sharing my screen and I'll let Raul take over one more time.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Please let me know once it's up.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome.
See it, yep.
So very quickly, how to set a monitoring feed to listen for a particular keyword or hashtag. On eClincher, you will go here to the monitoring feed section and click on Add Feed. Then you can select the profile or social channel where you want to do the search. Let's say Twitter, and I want to use this account. Then you can select the type of search that you want to do. Let's suppose I want to look at all tweets that are going through. Let's suppose the keyword I want to monitor is pizza, and I want to narrow results by looking at results only for Los Angeles. So what I will do is I will set my different settings, so I will add my keywords and I can narrow results by choosing different options, and I can click on Preview Feed, and the system will start looking for that information. Once it loads, I can see a preview of the feed, and if I'm happy with the results I'm seeing, I will set my feed, and then I will have it available right here. So whenever I need to check and keep an eye on what people are talking about this particular keyword or hashtag, I have to simply go to my monitoring keywords and hashtag feed and change over the different keywords I have set, and I can not only check what people are saying, but I can actually engage and take opportunities on this. Another great tool for social listening, as I was telling you, is setting RSS feeds. So you can check on not only your competitors, but on any service or platform or media service that provides new information on topics that are related to your business. So you can set many different RSS feeds, and you can check them all at a very quick glance by just going right here. So again, you will go to the appropriate feed on Feeds tab, you will click on Add Feed, and it will request you to add the URL of the RSS feed. Once you add it, as you can see, you will have a mirror of whatever is published on that section. So you can monitor and track whatever is published there, and you get a very quick overview of what others are doing and what others are saying or talking about in very few minutes. I believe that will be all for me at this time, guys. Going back to you.
Okay, thank you, Raul. Let me one more time share my screen back to the presentation. Okay.
All right, creativity. We all love it. We all want to be creative all the time. Sometimes we need a little help. So if you go to the next slide, Keith. So as I was saying in the very top when I was setting the scene, whether you're a small business in Spokane, Washington, or your big enterprise fast food chain, everybody has equal opportunity to reach an audience through the World Wide Web. So what that means, though, is that we need to be more creative in terms of standing out. So what is going to be unique? What is going to be relevant to your audience? You can reach your local audience, and then you can think about, well, I know how to reach my audience using the power of social media and things like Google My Business and other tools that are out there, and that we have conveniently all in eClincher. But the other thing is, how do you go past those traditional borders? So the local burger shop that's known for its secret sauce can now actually reach audiences outside of Washington and reach people that may be touring through Washington. and be able to be a known entity and be able to bring those people in. Or maybe they want to set up some sort of e-commerce because their secret sauce has now become so amazing that they can bottle it up and reach other audiences. And then it's about really learning how to talk to your audience. So in other words, with your audiences now being much more diverse and across traditional borders, really doing that social listening and really understanding what's the language that's going to reach them. And then being mindful of that diverse audience segmentation. And of course, as you're really going into that world of a much more diverse and expanded world of an addressable market, your total addressable market, make sure that you're paying attention to the analytics, because the analytics and data are going to be your best friend when it comes to understanding what's working and what's not working around being creative. And I'll give it to you, Keith, to talk about that a little bit more.
So the way we look at, I'll skip through some of this right here. So the way we look at our content is, a lot of you probably follow Gary Vaynerchuk. He has a content model where he talks about creating pulse content or a pillar piece of content, and then utilizing micro pieces that you can distribute across. We like to think about that in a similar sense when we're thinking of how can we be creative, in a sense that how can we repurpose some of the existing material that we might already have. So the way we look at this is very, very simple. So number one, you have your pulse piece of content. That could be your long form video that you're producing every month. That could be your vlog that you may be doing, or that could be one long piece of educational content that you're producing. From that, we can start to create what we call internally remixed micro content. So let's say we create a 10-minute or a 5-minute educational video about the benefits of your service or your product. Well, from that, we can create 30-second clips, 1-minute clips, 15-second clips that we can use in order to distribute across multiple channels. So what that allows you to do is, in a very simple sense, it allows you to create one big pillar piece of content, and that's the most effort. And then from there, it allows you to start to make micro content that you're ultimately able to distribute across all the social channels. So one big piece, you can have Instagram stories, you can have Instagram placements, you can have micro clips that you may be able to also republish on YouTube. You may have small pieces of just quotes that you may be able to take from that pillar piece of content and publish those on Facebook. So many different angles that you can achieve through having one big pillar piece of content, and then from there creating micro pieces, so to say. Now, this strategy doesn't exactly work for everyone, but it's something to think about if you keep coming back to the question of, I don't have enough content to produce, I don't know what to post. Following this type of methodology can really help. Again, just to give you an idea, you may have 2 pillar pieces of content that are being published on, let's say, these 2 dates, on Facebook and YouTube. Well, from those 2 main pieces of content, we can create micro pieces that we distribute across Snap, Insta, LinkedIn, Twitter, that may lead back to this main pillar piece of content. Think about articles. You can think, if you write any sort of listicle form articles, 1, 2, top 5, so to say, well, you can create micro pieces of each one of those 5 topics that ultimately lead back to the blog posts that talk about all 5 of those, pain points, whatever those may be. So I want to just kind of give you guys an example of how a strategy helped us, again, with our client Dick's Sporting Goods, where we were able to create real-time content in the last Super Bowl. So anytime we had a team of people monitoring, watching the game literally, and as things happened within the game, we had pre-made assets ready to deploy whenever something happened. So if New England made a touchdown, and we had post that was going out almost immediately around the fact that New England just made a touchdown, and we would foster engagement through our copy by saying, what did you think? Was it fair? If any of you watched the Saints game, obviously that wasn't fair. So, in real time, we are fostering engagement, and we are publishing content based on that. Here you can see some more stuff. This is more around the Final Four, so college. And I'll hand it over to Rika. But I just wanted to show you guys a quick example of how having a strategy can help define ultimately what you're publishing and how it can make your job easy when coming up with ideas.
Cool. Thanks, Keith. Okay, so we are closing out the themes with number 5, last but not least, is competitive intelligence. It's a jungle out there, people. I'm kidding. But half seriously, you have to be really savvy and excited, actually, because having competition means you're in a field where people want your service or your good or your product. So really knowing what your competitors are doing helps you reinforce your brand. So you can figure out how to use that great creativity, how to use amazing content that Sociallyin can create for you to be competitive and razor sharp with the way that you're going to service your customers and your prospects. Use tools. There's definitely a lot of tools out there, great data, as I was mentioning earlier, and Raul will do a final double click or a deep dive on an area of the platform where you can do that. And really understanding where the missed opportunities are. So if you are listening and really paying attention to your competitors, you can pick up easily on where they may be missing the mark or where they may not be really paying attention to their customers as closely as you are and as intimate as you are to being very much connected to them. So keeping up with your competition can be, can be a little bit daunting, but think of it as an opportunity to give you ideas of how to be creative, how to be inspired, how you differentiate, and how you really, again, exercise that critical muscle of social listening. So Raul, you want to give a final deep dive? Sorry, Keith, were you going to say something?
I'll say one thing, Rika, real quick before we move to the next slide is, so on Sociallyin's blog, Anna will drop the link in there, but we recently wrote a pretty extensive blog on how you can actually spy on your Facebook, your competitors' Facebook ads. I think that would be helpful just because in this section we're talking about competitors. So Anna will drop that link in there. I think it could be very helpful. All right, so Raul, I'll hand it over to you. Give me 1 second.
Sure thing.
We can see it.
Okay, awesome. So just to recap very quickly, in terms of competitive intelligence, as Rika was telling, one important thing is to know how to handle your customers and how to be closer to them. And one of the best strategies, of course, is to give personalized attention and real-time attention. And you can totally do that using our inbox. So as I showed you, we collect multiple items from all social media accounts, and all the items come live and organized under your eClincher account, so you can very quickly, with the different tools, address any pending items. As you can see, we have multiple items here, but you can actually address them all very quickly. In a couple of minutes, you can resolve all these pending items. Another thing you can use from eClincher to analyze how you're doing versus your competitors is, for example, generate a comparison between your account and your competitors in terms of different main charts. So for example, on Instagram business, you can totally compare how you're doing in the last 30 days in terms of total likes received, total comments, engagement, what is the most engaging time compared with your competitors. For example, last time you have published the tags you use the most versus the ones that are more engaging, and compare this information with your competitors so you may be able to identify an opportunity that you may be missing if you're not using the right tools to identify these things. Finally, as just to mention that you can also use the monitoring features that are offered on different tools to not only listen for your brand or your client's brand, but also to listen and look for what others are telling about your competitors, because you may find opportunities there. That will be all for me, guys.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's go back to the presentation. So that's it for it. We're going to open the stage here in just a second for Q&A, but Rika and I both wanted to talk about an offer that, we want to be able to give you guys. Rika, if you want to talk about eClincher, I'll talk about the social audit.
Yeah, so what you saw today was just a quick demo and a double click deep dive on a couple of areas if you'd like to get a custom demo specific to your specific needs and what you're exploring, you can reach out to us. There's a link that Anna will be putting into the chat that has a Calendly for open slots for a demo. And you can also sign up for free. No credit card required. We all know times when you put in a credit card and you forget, but in this case, you can actually sign up for eClincher for 2 weeks for free, just to check it out. We think 14 days is a pretty good time period for you to figure out if it's something that you will be able to use for your strategy for 2019 so that you can win in 2020. So, Keith?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And what we want to do is offer a social audit. So we do this with a couple of our potential prospects where we'll do a deep dive into all of your social profiles, give you guys suggestions on what we think you can be doing better. You'll have an expert looking at basically everything. If you want us to do ads account analysis, well, we're happy to do that also. You'll be able to provide us analyst access to the ads, and we'll give you our brutal, honest feedback on what we believe that you could be improving on your social media. This is a free audit, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what each of our websites looks like. So this is the Sociallyin website. This is the eClincher website, just so you know what you're on it. And then Anna will drop this social media strategy audit into the chat that you guys will be able to fill out if you're interested in our team helping you do a social audit. And this page will also give you explanation of what to expect from that audit period.
Cool.
So lastly, we'd like to open up the floor to Q&A.
Yeah, I think we are actually, hey, good job, Keith, on the timing here. We did good. All right, so we have a few minutes left. So David, you were asking about our integration with Sniply. Raul, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure thing. I think I will share my screen one more time because it's quicker if I just show you how it works.
Yep.
So very quickly, you connect your account on Add and Manage Accounts as I showed you, and you have the Sniply link here. So I guess you're familiar with Sniply, but for those who are not, Sniply allows you to add call to action buttons to any link you want to share. So basically, you take the link you want to share. Let's suppose I want to share this article from TechCrunch, but I want that when users click on this link, they will have see a call to action button redirecting to my site. What I will do is I will click on Sniply icon. I will select any saved call to action buttons that I have already set, or I can create a new one inside the eClincher. I will paste the original link and click on Snip. Once I do, I will see that a new link is generated on my composer area. And if you want to check how it looks or if it works, you will simply copy the link before posting it, and you can go to the website and you will check that indeed your call to action button has been added. So again, you have the full article available as it is, but you have a call to action button that's redirecting to your website or to your app. Now, Sniply is not a free tool. However, they do offer, I believe it's 1,000 free clicks a month, and you can totally integrate this with your eClincher account.
Thanks, Raul.
Awesome.
Any other questions? UTMs. Is that a question? I see. Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Maybe Raul, if you can show how you can easily add UTM tags if there's that feature.
Okay, let's use the same link. You will go, for example, on Edit Links button right here. If you want to add an UTM campaign or tags to a particular link, you will do it from here. You will unshorten the link first and then click Add UTM campaign tags, and you will add your parameters right here. Now, if you want to set a fixed UTM campaign or tags to all your URLs shared on eClincher, you will go to Post Settings, and on URL Shortener, you will define the tags from here, and these tags will be added to any link you create inside eClincher. That's it.
Great, thanks, Raul.
You're welcome.
By the way, we will, this webinar has been recorded, and so both Sociallyin and eClincher will be posting this on our website. So if you think it's helpful for other folks on your team to take a look or go straight to another section to revisit it, we will have that posted, and we'll share that to the team after today's webinar as well.
Yep, and I will drop my email address here, so feel free to give Rika, Raul, or I a direct email. And
Yeah, I'll put
if
mine
you have
here.
any questions further, feel free to shoot us an email.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, thank you everybody for attending. You know, we're going to be doing quite a bit of these throughout the year. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week. Go get him.
Yes, goodbye.
Bye.
All right, see you guys. Bye-bye.